If you'd have asked me a few months ago about the life of George Muller, the image that would have come to mind is one of a man at an orphanage praying for food, while the children sat in front of empty plates. When a knock sounded at the door, it happened to be the local baker, prompted awake at 2 a.m. with a need to bake bread for the orphanage. Not long after that, the milkman had problems with his cart outside, and the repair made it necessary to unload the milk, which in turn was given to the children. From reading this account years ago, I remembered Mr. Muller as a praying man, but I didn't have a clear picture of his life. When a friend sent the audiobook of his biography by Janet and Geoff Benge, I took time to listen to the story again, and it really inspired me. Born in Prussia in the early 1800s to well-to-do parents, George Muller went from being a boy who stole from his father to a young man who cheated his friends and landed in jail for not paying an innkeeper, to a man who came to know Christ in a powerful and unexpected way that revolutionized his life and created a lasting legacy around the world. This past weekend, I visited a historic preservation site while listening to bits and pieces of the Muller story. And I considered the heritage from one generation to another, thinking about the way small steps of action make a big difference. George eventually became a pastor in Bristol, England, during a time when a cholera epidemic ravaged the city, sending many families to the poorhouse and filling the streets with orphans of all ages. In the years leading up to this season of his life, Mr. Muller had become a man who believed in, practiced, and depended on specific prayer for God's provision and direction. One day, while considering what he thought might be an exciting and adventurous opportunity to become a missionary in Baghdad, he crossed paths with a young girl and her toddler brother who had lost their parents, and they asked if he could spare a shilling. In that moment, he realized he was already standing on an important mission field, and the idea for an orphanage was born. He had no idea how it would happen or how far-reaching the impact would be, but he trusted God to work out the details. After finishing the story, 2 faith lessons in particular jumped out at me. George Muller recognized the work right in front of him, and he prayed very specific prayers. He never asked anyone other than God for money or provision. In doing so, every need was met, often in miraculous ways. By following the Lord's call for his life, he once said he felt better at 89 years old than he did at 29. Over the course of 60 years, George Muller became the beloved father to more than 10,000 orphans, and eventually had the opportunity to preach the gospel all over the world, where he influenced others to believe in the power of prayer. His life's work and his deep faith inspired me to pray more specific prayers and to pay closer attention to the calling right in front of me. I hope it does the same for you. Earlier this week, I noticed it's been exactly 1 year since I uploaded my first YouTube video. And I want you to know I greatly appreciate your support. As we cross this milestone together, I have a vulnerable request. Would you please pray for me for the growth and direction of this channel? Also, if the content resonates with you, will you share it with at least one person and leave a comment below? I'm grateful to be on this journey with you, and I look forward to what the future holds.